You're listening to the Still 80 Mania podcast. I'm your host, Benson Su, and this is Storytime. Welcome, and thanks for joining us for another episode of Storytime on the Still 80 Mania podcast. I'm excited to introduce our next guest. He's a hip-hop head, a sneaker head, a car builder, a car collector. He's held executive positions at Nike, EA Sports, Hoonigan. Now he's at Wheel Pros. He is the founder and creator of Fat Lace, Illest, Drift Unit, the Slam Society, formerly Hellaflush, and was a major force in the flush wheel fitment and stance movement. I am so honored to welcome Mark Arcenal to the podcast. What's up, Mark?
Oh, what's up? What's up, man?
Man, I'm out of breath after that.
That was long.
It was long, but I didn't even do it justice.
No,
you have
that's
like
fine.
the most impressive resume, and that's just your resume, your work resume. I'm like the things you've done for car culture,
Oh, thanks.
and other things like fashion and all of that.
Yeah,
It's very impressive.
thank you. I think when I get into things, I really get into it and kind of put my passion into it and
Yeah,
find things that excite me and build off that, you know?
yeah, and you really see that if like you look at where you started your I don't know. I maybe don't know where you started your career, but I kind of saw some stuff in your LinkedIn and your journey, and it went slowly from your, the stuff you went to school for, and then I saw kind of your passion kicked in, and you started following your passion,
Yeah,
and then you got heavily into car stuff.
way too much. It's too much to the point where I love, I mean, actually, what's funny is when I notice I love something so much, I try not to make it a job, right? Like when it becomes a job, that's when you're like, you're not really
Yeah,
into it anymore.
yeah,
I mean, I could say that happened when I was at Nike. It was a dream to work at Nike. It's a dream for so
I
many people.
I can imagine.
And when you get to Nike, you're like, oh man, this is cool. This is a great job. I met so many people, had so many opportunities from it, but
Hmm.
I didn't really want to be there because it was, you're now just your dream is kind of like, oh, that's not a dream anymore. It became reality, which is great, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like whatever.
You saw something bigger out there. You kind of realized. I think there's a lot of people in that position where, maybe they have got a great job, but it's not what they love, and it's still a
Yeah.
job. How, like, if you had to give advice to someone who, was trying to figure out how to cross that bridge, what would you say to them?
Well, you know what's really funny is I noticed in the last 10 years, tons of people are following their passion,
Yeah,
which is amazing, right? Like back in the day when I was a kid, and I love that I say that because you understand this because we were on the older side of these things, but
mm-hmm,
um before obviously, our parents would kind of like guide us, give us a little advice
yeah,
or tell us what to do, right?
yeah,
Like, but now it's like parents, like myself, I'm like telling my kids, like, dude, just do whatever you guys feel like
yeah,
is cool for yourself.
mm-hmm,
Because really, we're not really living here very long, so you might as well have fun while you're out here,
yeah.
you know?
And it's I definitely feel that. We both have Asian parents, and I'm sure your parents told you to be a nurse or a doctor, or
Yeah,
go the traditional path of going to college and doing academics,
yeah,
but you landed in design.
yeah.
How did that happen? Were your parents supportive of that?
They were they were well, first of all, I wanted to be a cosmetic surgeon because
Okay.
that was very much in the design field, right?
Oh,
Like I
that's
was
interesting.
like
I never thought about that, but yeah.
I personally thought it was. I thought it was like cool. And I could talk about anything, right? Or
Yeah.
is it a PG thing or
I mean, if you curse, or you're gonna get the quack sound.
okay, cool. Yeah, I don't I mean I'll try not to curse too much, but
Yeah.
I was like way into female body parts. Let's
Got
just say
it.
that, right? And I
Okay.
was like, oh, cool. I'll be a plastic surgeon. This is like the best career ever,
Yeah.
right? And and then I started taking these classes, and I was like, man, I really don't like blood that much, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of blood with
Mm.
surgery, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, shit, I already took. Oh, sorry, I took two
It's all good.
years of this, and I said, okay, what's the fastest way out of college? Because it takes a long time to get out of college when you
Yeah.
change careers. I
Yeah.
mean, you change your majors or whatever. And I found interior design, and it's like interior slash commercial design, and that took only 2 years to finish. So I was still in college for a while because I started my own sticker business. Like
Mm.
when remember Modern Image
Yes.
Signworks? Remember those guys?
Yes.
We started Mecha Graphics back then.
Oh my gosh, that just brought me back right now. I totally forgot about Mecha Graphics. I
Yeah.
see the logo in my head right now.
Yeah, so I did that, and I got caught up doing that and finally graduated. And my dad was like, "Hey, aren't you gonna get a real job?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "Dude, I'm making pretty good money, I think." And that's when I started working corporate, like at the Gap and stuff.
Okay. And that was when did you realize you were a creative?
I always loved art, right? Like I was really into graffiti.
Yeah.
I got busted quite a bit in high school.
Yeah.
Never so much in college because we would be a little more smarter about it. But I knew I was way into art. It was just I didn't understand how art translates to the corporate world,
Yeah.
and it did. You just had to apply yourself and learn all these programs in order to become that creative for these corporate companies and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and when did you realize you were, I mean, you were always into art, but when did you realize you had like a gift for it? Would you say that you were born with a gift, or was it something that you kind of learned just because it was your passion?
It was, I don't know if it was a gift. It was more, I noticed a lot of cool logos. Ever since I was a kid, I was like, oh my God, that's a cool logo. Oh man, that company uses the same font as that company, right?
Yeah.
And it was all over the place, right? Like everyone uses like the same Helvetica font,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
that kind of freaked me out because I'm like, whoa, every single person in the world is using this font.
Yeah.
So then I just started dabbling with fonts and started becoming really interested in creating logos. And I thought that's kind of like the best way to start a brand, right? To just
Mm-hmm.
have a really cool logo and, come with really cool colorways. And
Yeah.
that stuff really stuck with me. And I really pushed real hard to create logos for different companies and just had really fun with it.
I remember reading, I don't know if it was Fat Lace. I think it was the Fat Lace website, and you were talking about logos and fonts and how you came up with the Illust logo.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Got so in trouble with that one.
Did
But
you really?
yeah, no, we got a cease and desist from Titleist.
Okay.
But it was that lady was super nice. She was just like, just don't use it. We won't have to sue you, this and that. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. So then she gave us a year to kind of like unload all our apparel that
Uh
had
huh.
the logo type.
Yeah.
And then from there, we never used it again.
But the
Yeah.
funny thing is, after you stopped using it, it was everywhere, man. Like
Oh, I know.
all the sticker shops, all the like places that would just like make bootleg stickers.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was like in NorCal, but it was
Yeah.
everywhere down
Oh,
here.
it was everywhere. I mean, I got friends globally that would just send me pictures and text messages
Yeah.
of cars born. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Those are all bootleg stickers. But I think the funny thing about that is it just got the name out, and
Yeah.
it really helped us as far as that's when I realized, oh shoot, this is like real funny marketing, right? Like free marketing.
Right.
Like these guys are all making money off the logo, which is
Right.
fine, but we made money off the logo too. So
Yeah, it
pretty
was so
funny.
it was so crazy to see. I mean, I'm sure like I saw people everywhere all over SoCal with Illust stickers, and I was like, I don't even know if they know what Illust is, but
Yeah.
it was like the sticker you had to have. It's like having a Stussy T-shirt or something. Like you had to have
Oh,
the logo.
yeah. Speaking of Stussy, they have a lawyer that would always contact me, and he's like, Mark, there's so much illicit fake stuff out there. I'm like, I know, I don't know how to stop this. Right? Like he's like, well, you got to do this, and this. So then we hired someone just to stop fake stuff.
Hmm.
And at one point, I was like, you know what? Who cares? It doesn't even matter,
Yeah.
right? Like I think it's fun. It's good. Good. It's just like when I was doing graffiti, we were tagging everywhere, right? So
Yeah.
it kind of felt the same way, like free advertising and
And it's part of
uh,
the culture, right?
mhm.
It's I mean, it's showing how much people appreciate your brand, and
Yeah, so funny.
you could like try and fight it, or you could embrace it
Yeah,
like Gucci does or LV,
yeah, yeah,
and just
definitely.
make it and it's more inclusive that way. You just embrace it.
Yeah, yeah, it's all about that. I think it happens to every single big brand, and we weren't a big brand, but I was happy that it was happening.
It felt like a big brand. It really
Yeah,
did.
it totally did.
Yeah. It was
I
pretty
mean, the way
amazing.
people were like, "Oh my God, that I know that brand." I'm like, "What? Really? That's
Yeah.
crazy."
Everyone, man, everyone knew.
So funny.
Yeah. Um, so let's bring this back to cars.
Yeah,
You're a big
that's
car
great.
collector. You've
Uh,
built many SEMA cars,
yeah.
um, some pretty iconic cars. Can you tell us how did you get into cars?
Um, the first time I went to an old school Volkswagen show is when I really started loving cars, right? I
How old
mean, I
were
would
you?
always have, I was young, I was like maybe 16
Okay.
at the time. And I don't know, my friends brought me, I was like, we were sitting in his van. There's no chairs in this van. And I was like, whoa, we're going all the way to Sacramento. That's so far.
Yeah.
And then we went to the show and it just flipped me out. And after that, I went to every single Volkswagen show and, got way into VWs and um, I had, my mom gave me her, it was nice. It was like a 318i, an
Okay.
E30, in back in the day. And
That's so Filipino, by the way.
I know it was like, oh, I always tell people that I became her driver
Okay.
when I started driving because she was telling me to drive her everywhere. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
But then from there, it's like I cut the springs, cut them in half. Like I heard Nadine said she
Cut them
cut
in
her
half.
springs. I cut them in half.
You cut them in half, literally in half.
I literally cut the back spring in half because in BMWs they're separate from the
Hmm.
you know
From the shock.
yeah, the shock, they're
Hmm.
separate. I cut one in half, put on both sides, drove on the bridge, and one fell out. I was like,
Oh, dude.
holy smokes.
Yeah.
So then I had to cut the other one in half, and I zip tied them down.
Oh, that's
It's pretty
smart.
funny. Yeah. But I went through so much with that car. I think 10 years because I couldn't afford anything. I was still a student. And
Yeah.
I think after I got my first job at the Gap, that's when I went crazy. I started going crazy on cars and
Yeah.
just, I don't know, started buying a lot.
And but you eventually got into Japanese cars.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
What kind of started that?
I think because we lived in Daly City at the
Hmm.
time and all my friends had Hondas and Acuras.
Yes.
So I
Or
had
like
bought,
what year was this?
this was maybe the 90s,
Okay.
like 94 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Um
pretty early in the import scene
yeah,
when
super
like
early or
people are trying to like there are parts available. People can like fix up their car like lightly, right? Like clear
yeah.
corners and stuff,
It was
mufflers.
really corner lights,
Yeah.
springs.
Yeah.
Some people had coilovers, the guys that were like doing drag racing and stuff
Okay.
and
Yeah.
and I had bought some teens,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a RS, Acura Integra RS.
Okay.
That was fun. That was a fun car. And yeah, no, I mean, I think I still was into VWs because I had a bus still at the time, but
Okay.
um, I got, I don't know, I've had quite a few Japanese cars, but not as many as like the Euro scene because I got way, way into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how did you get into drifting?
Um, so a lot of my friends
Give
around
us some
me,
context too. So
okay,
let's drop
so
some
so
years.
okay, so in 98, was it 98? Oh yeah, I think 98, a friend of
Super
mine in
early.
Japan, yeah, he was a teacher in Japan,
Oh,
like an
English
English
teacher.
teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was like, wow, you're gonna go there to teach English? He's a half Japanese guy, right? Half
Okay.
Chinese, half Japanese guy. And
Okay.
and I think I don't know how much Japanese he knew, but he started learning a lot of Japanese because he went there. And he sent me a video. I don't even think I think it was a VHS or something. I don't who knows what I could have been a DVD, who knows. But he sent me something. I think it was DVD. He sent it to me and I was like, oh my God, what is this? These
Yeah.
guys are like full pink cars drifting. I didn't know what it was. He's like, dude, you got to check out this new sport. I'm like,
Yeah.
what sport?
Yeah.
And then, and he like, these kids were, I don't know if they were kids even, but bunch of pink cars drifting, tandem stuff, right? Down
Mm-hmm.
straightaways. We didn't know what it was called, but back then, I guess, it was manjing, but
Yeah.
they were just like on racetracks doing really cool team drifting. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. And I didn't have money for a manual car yet, right?
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
was driving my mom's Beamer, and I think in 2001 I bought a S2000 because I really loved S2000s.
Okay. They came out in 2000, right? So it's pretty new.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like because I had money.
Okay.
It's like my first job. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm spending this money,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I went to a drift day 6 because Calvin Wan at the time was drifting,
Okay.
right? And he's like, "Oh yeah, you should go to this thing called Drip Day." I'm like, "All right, we don't have anything like this in the Bay Area." So I've driven to no idea where it was.
It's
It,
gotta be Irwindale Speedway.
yeah, because it was kind of you started on a hill and you go down to the
Oh, okay.
middle
No,
and it
that was California Speedway. Now
okay,
I don't remember what it's called now. Auto Club Speedway, I think. Yeah.
maybe yeah, the Fontana one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, we drove so far for this, right? And
Yeah. You guys in NorCal were notorious for being dedicated, man. Like people like Calvin Wan would come down for almost like every single drift
every
day.
single one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was crazy. And I was like, Kelvin, I have no idea how to drift this thing. I'm here to practice drifting. I mean, I got my right turns good, but
Yeah.
my left turns I'd always spin. He goes, "Why did you buy S2000? This is not the best car to drift."
Yeah.
I go, "I know, it's like super hard to balance, right?"
Yeah.
And then so he takes it out. Oh my God, this guy's so good at it.
Yeah.
And he was just like killing the corners. I'm like, "Oh my God, I wish that was me." But I think a year later I bought an S14
That's when you
because
got the
I just
Zenki S14.
yeah, the Zenki S14, 2003, maybe.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun. That was the
Yeah.
best. That was like the start of it all. All my friends had S14s and S13. It was crazy up north.
Oh yeah. Well, there are a lot of nice Toyotas up north, and
Oh yeah.
I feel like there were more Toyotas than Nissans.
Oh no, there were. I mean, like Alex Pfeiffer and
Yeah.
this dude Leroy. I don't know if you know
I remember
Leroy.
Leroy, yeah.
That guy was Hawaiian. I thought that dude was gonna beat up everyone, but I was like, oh, this dude's super Hawaiian.
Yeah.
We ended up, I actually own his 86 that he used to drift. It's my son's car right
The
now.
white one that you have is his.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I
really
still have
cool.
the Cusco cage in there and
Nice.
a couple of the extra little things that the same engine. He actually sold it to Hunter's uncle.
Okay.
And it came with 3 motors. It was so cool. We went to his house. I was like, oh my God, this guy's only gonna beat us up. But he sold us everything for like, I don't know at the time. I think it might have been $8,000
So good.
with 3 motors. I'm
So
like,
good.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
That's
fun.
awesome. That's
Hmm.
awesome. Um
I
so
probably jumped too so soon. I jumped so fast. Sorry about that.
no, it's all good. It's all good. Uh do you remember the moment you fell in love with drifting?
Dude, I know when I mean, I love drifting already, but like really, really into it when we went to D1GP.
Okay.
It was a hybrid event. It was like a time attack event and a
Yeah.
drifting. Where
The
was
one
that one?
that was at California Speedway. That was when they brought all the JGTC cars.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, we were already like, we had our Origin body kits.
Yeah.
I had J lines on my S14, the green
Yes.
ones,
Yes, I remember. You
and then
designed those, right? Or oh, I forgot.
I
You
did their
had
logo.
oh, okay.
Yeah, and then And then Jay Pizarro had his black S14 with
Yes,
a Vertex kit.
with the Vertex kit, the Vertex Ridge kit.
Yeah, yeah. And then we
Yep,
were just like, man, this is like the best thing ever.
it
I
was
don't want to ever,
amazing,
dude, it was the best thing
and,
ever.
and they've never repeated it. I'm so bummed about it.
I
That was
don't
like
know what
that was the best
that
thing I've ever seen.
hmm that was the start of it all. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know what year that was, but it was
that was 2004
five, maybe
or
four.
5.
Mm-hmm. But
2004.
the
2004.
build up, right? Like from us to start drifting, and we street drifted. I
Hmm.
know Calvin and them street drifted way more than us,
Yeah,
and we would street drift. But I was really conservative with street drifting because I've gotten busted with graffiti so much that
yeah,
I already know that feeling. I don't
yeah,
really want to get back into that. But
yeah.
man, just the feeling of drifting was the best feeling ever, right? Because it's almost like graffiti for me. Like you get this release, and you're
Okay,
just like,
yeah.
oh,
The
cool.
rush. Yeah,
Yeah, the rush
yeah.
is so good.
I I can't relate to graffiti, but I guess it's the act of doing something you can get in trouble for. Is that what it is?
Maybe it was. I don't
Yeah.
know, but every left turn, I would take it.
Yeah.
Any left turn. No one's
Yeah,
around, I'm
dude.
taking it.
Me
Like
too, man. Yeah, I spun
I
out.
I
I
mean
spun out in a lot of intersections.
yeah,
Yeah.
like we would film freeway exits. It
Mm-hmm.
was so stupid. Like I mean, thinking about it now, if we were doing it now, I mean, I think we could still do it now, but just a little more smarter. Like there's too much cameras around now.
There's too many cameras, and cops know what you're doing now. Like back in the
Hmm
day, we could do it and be just like, oh, my foot got stuck on the throttle,
hmm
or like, I don't
That's
know, I'm just
funny.
a dumb kid, right? But we're, yeah, it's too popular now.
Yeah, it's too popular, and you can really tell who's got a drift car out there now.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Cops know what a drift car is for
Yeah.
sure.
Yep. Yep. For sure.
Let's talk about what you did with Illust and Fat Lace. Well, Fat Lace was it was a website you did. It's
Yeah.
kind of like just all your passions all in one website, right? Kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
music,
It was
fashion, cars.
definitely. It was just a blog for me to kind of an outlet for me to talk about things.
Yeah.
I was not the best writer in as far as like, like writing, as far as writing blogs and stuff. I wasn't the best writer in school. So I thought this would be a really good experiment for myself to kind of learn how to express myself
Yeah.
on a blog. And I think when I noticed that it was starting to trend, Fat Lace as a brand,
Yeah.
I was like, cool, we can make t-shirts now, and we could even open up a store because all our passion is what we're selling anyway,
Yeah.
right? Like it's like when you're going to a Japanese stationery store, you're going to find the best stationery, right?
Yeah.
Because they really focus in on everything they love about stationery, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what I did with Fat Lace. Everything we sold in the store was all my favorite brands,
Yeah.
as well as all my favorite, the guys that worked around at the store,
Mm-hmm.
all the favorite stuff as well. So it was a really cool experience for us to actually own a store.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And I saw
Fun time.
you always had like a good group of friends around. Like you were always doing car stuff at Fat Lace, and like you were
Yeah.
supporting like people were working on their cars there, and you're
Hmm
kind of supporting the local scene too.
Yeah.
And that was really cool to see because like back then I think the crossover between like fashion and cars didn't happen very often, so that was really
Oh
neat.
yeah. It wasn't around. So my whole I guess my whole purpose in like the drifting world was kind of to bring, because drifting has so much style, right? It was
Yeah.
all about 100% style, right?
Yeah.
Obviously it changed when it became professional. It became, oh my God, what are these cars now? So weird. I
Yeah.
hate it, right?
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
Yeah.
But there was so much style in drifting, but there was not much style in people's appearance,
Mm.
right? So in my head, I was like, oh, cool, we could mix it two, and let's just try and experiment and see what happens. And it seemed to do well. We opened up a store in
Mm-hmm.
Japantown in San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
and my friends would throw this show called JDM Theory.
Okay.
or JDM, yeah, which is called Week Fest now,
Okay.
right? So they used to rent the underground garage, and the two started mixing, which is I was like stoked about, right?
That's
Because we would
awesome.
sell Nike SBs, we would sell Nike at my store,
Yeah.
and people would come to the shop, and then we go to the show. It was just really good timing on our part, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You you seem to be like just a little bit in front of a lot of big trends.
yeah,
Just kind
so
of,
weird.
yeah, like and I guess that's a good segue to talking about Hellaflush.
Yeah,
Um, you 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 were a big you were big in having that trend of like wheel fitment and the term stance, and
yeah, that's so funny.
you guys coined the phrase hella flush, and that was such a big movement, and you were like right in the front of that.
Yeah, I think we got. I don't know if it's. I think because we had so much passion for it,
Yeah,
um that's the reason why it took off, because everyone around me was about, okay, let's make sure if we're drifting, our cars have to look really nice, right?
yeah,
None of this hokey looking. No, you can't have gaps, you can't have nothing,
yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
all about visual awesomeness, right?
yeah.
And for us, as a, we didn't even have a crew, we just called ourselves, oh, okay, actually we had kind of a crew, we called it Drift Unit.
Yeah.
um but Hellaflush came because a friend of mine was Jerry, this other guy from San Jose. He had a S14 also,
Mm-hmm.
Zenki.
Mm-hmm.
He was Jay's friend, and he was like, dude, that's Hellaflush. Man,
Yeah.
all our cars are so cool, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, they're actually really cool for us. I don't know if the world liked it, but we
Yeah.
loved it, right? Because
Yeah.
we had nice body kits, and we would drift. We wouldn't really crash into each other
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
But I think the movement started from there, right? Like we brought it down to LA. We had a meet down there called Hellaflush. I think we called it Hellaflush 3, although it was
Okay.
the first one,
Okay.
which
That's
is
funny.
really funny because we counted some local meets as the 1 and 2. So
Oh,
we're like,
okay.
oh
Okay.
shoot. It
Okay.
wasn't it trust me, it was just for fun, right? And I think we did it at some beach. And then, dude, people, we were just, our friend Yogi was selling stuff out of the trunk. It was crazy. And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this is actually a really cool thing that we're doing. I didn't consider it something to make money off it. It was
Mm-hmm.
just really all friends doing fun stuff.
Yeah.
It's always been like that for me. As long as we're having fun, and we could pay for our way there to Japan or wherever, then
Yeah.
I'm all good with that.
I always thought that, I mean, okay, I'm going to be honest with you right now.
Yeah.
When you first started uh when you first started like promoting that style, I didn't like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, cuz I mean,
That's funny.
I was inspired, you were inspired by Japanese style,
Yeah.
and I was too. Um and I saw like what you guys were doing. You guys were inspired by it, and you guys were building onto it. Like you made it more extreme. Like you made your cars
Hmm.
way lower. You made
Yeah.
your stretching tires way more, and like there was way more camber.
Yeah.
Like it's just extreme everything, extreme
Yeah.
fitment,
Yeah.
extreme like
Hmm.
alignment, like all that stuff. And it was just it looked good, but like the I guess I came from a different perspective. Like, I wanted my stuff to look just like the Japanese cars, and you
Yeah.
took it and you ran with it and you made something your own. I feel
It,
like,
that's really funny you say that, because we were really experimenting, right? Like,
yeah,
I hit up Stan at he was at J Line. He had DTM at the time too.
hmm
From Toyo Tires, Stan? Stan
I've
Chen?
met him. I
Yeah,
met him, but yeah,
great
I don't
dude.
really know him.
So he would sell us 9.5s, right? And I was like, cool, 9.5s are cool.
Yeah,
Let's see what can fit on this, right?
yeah,
Then like, oh, 225 will not fit really well. It's just
yeah,
crazy. Too much camber, right? I
yeah,
mean, too much stretch.
yeah,
And we were, it's not that we wanted it. It's just that's all we messed up, right? Like, oh, oh man, we bought the wrong size tire.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I can't return it now because I
yeah,
already drove on it, right?
yeah,
So we just had to go with it until we ran out and to buy another set of tires. It wasn't like it was really all experimenting
yeah. But
and
that's how
yeah,
things get created, right?
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
a beautiful mistake, right?
yeah. I mean,
Uh,
obviously we debeated a few things when
yeah,
being too extreme
yeah,
because some guys started buying 10.5s or 10s, and I was like,
yeah.
whoa,
It's a
this
little
is a
too
little,
much.
that's too much, dude. Like,
Mm,
because I would debeat on like after one run, you're like, oh
yeah,
my God, that's terrible. But
yeah.
what I thought was really weird on the Hellaflush side was because we were, like you said, we were going extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Some other folks started going way extreme and
Yeah.
started putting the tagline Hellaflush on it. And I would try to correct them. I'm like, dude, that's not even
Oh
Hellaflush anymore.
no.
That's too much. That's
That's
like,
funny.
I'm like, you can't go drifting with
Yeah.
this, right? Like
Yeah.
it has to be a little like
Yeah.
minus 7 was kind of like the most. Minus
Uh-huh.
10 was like already cutting it.
Yeah.
And people would go way minus. I'm like, oh dude, you guys are nuts, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not the definition anymore.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Like there is a fine line between Hella Flush
There
and
is.
like I don't know what's past Hella Flush. What's
Dude, it
past
was
Hella?
like it was like this, and as long as the fender would like be
Yeah.
less than a millimeter,
Yeah.
then that's hella flush,
That's
right?
Hella Flush. Got it.
But people were going mega camber, and I
Yeah.
was like, dude, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But
It
because
was outside of your control then.
it was out of our control, because I see it all over the forum and
Yeah.
people was talking shit. I was like, oh, sorry, and they were just like so mad at it. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, but that wasn't the definition. Our
Right.
definition was for drifting to make
Right.
sure like we could look beautiful out there on the drift course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So funny. It went out of control.
That's what
So
I
funny.
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with your illest stuff, right?
Oh
That got
yeah.
out of control.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
so funny.
Yeah. So
Um,
funny.
and it was cool to see. It was cool to see how you created that and you kind of pushed that movement and see like it started. It wasn't only rear wheel drive cars anymore. It wasn't just the the Nissans or the Toyotas. You started seeing it on Civics, Accords.
Yeah.
You saw it on everything. Everyone just like it really changed the culture
It
in the
did.
US.
I think it did. I mean, then it started. Then the name changed to Stance.
Hmm.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes.
Like Stance wasn't around. I mean, yeah, Stance definitely. That word was not around. It started around the time we started,
Hmm.
but I think because people wanted a normal word, because people hated saying hella.
Okay.
Right? It was such a
That's a NorCal
north
word. Yeah.
such a NorCal thing, and people hated saying it. Like I was
Uh
always hear it in from the guys. The guys in Chicago were awesome. They love saying it.
yeah.
They're like all the risky guys, and
Yeah.
those are old friends of mine. But they were cool with it. The Florida guys were cool with it. I knew a lot
Hmm.
of the Florida guys, but it was like a lot of people just not down with that word.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where the stance came from. I think. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do remember it was around the same time or
Mhm.
shortly after.
Yeah.
Um but it's also cool to see how it changed the culture in the US and then it became like a global thing
Yeah.
and then it got to Japan. It went full circle back to the place that inspired Hellaflush.
Yes. That was weird.
Yeah.
Dude, we did our first show in Japan and I wasn't expecting anything, right? Because I was like, okay, cool. We're at Hellaflush, I think 6 in the
Hmm.
United States, and we did one in Chicago, I think. I can't remember, but um did one in Japan. I think it was Hellaflush 7 or 8, one of those. And I said, let's do something at Fuji Speedway. How much is
Okay.
that? Right?
Yeah. Wait, is
Uh
this the story you came to tell?
oh, should we not talk about it?
No, let's get into it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right, cool. Um yeah, so I had two of my friends, they were working for the company at the time.
Okay.
Max, and you know Max,
I don't
and
know
then
Max.
yeah, Max Nagano, and then Yu Yamamoto. He was a
Hmm.
magazine guy. he did all the magazines with he did a lot of magazines for Japan. He
Okay.
lived in the States, and he's a really great photographer. You probably know him. And
I did see Kenta in your video. Was he involved?
yeah, Kenta and you, we were all good friends,
Okay.
right? And Kenta would go to all our events, obviously, but Kenta helped out quite a bit as well. You know, I think you helped us secure the location with my real good friend Yamasaki
Mm-hmm.
in Japan. And I was like, let's rent Fuji because Fuji is like the coolest
Dude,
place ever. I
that's
don't
pretty
know,
ambitious, dude.
so ambitious. And what was even more ambitious was how much is this place? Oh, I don't know, $22,000. I'm like, whoa, $22,000 to rent? All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I didn't know, right? I
Yeah.
was like, I think we could do it,
Yeah.
whatever. So what we did was the fun. This is the funniest. This is the crazy thing. We did the event. I had you translate it into Japanese what we wanted to do, and we sent it to our friends in Japan and thought maybe people will register for it.
Mm-hmm.
We got crazy registrations. I was, you know, I told my friends at Ray's, work, everywhere, all the companies, right? At the time, I was just friends with everyone, NK, everyone. Like they brought me everywhere when I visited Japan, and I said, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we should do an event now. I think it might be time because people are seeing it happen in the US."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, maybe it's time to bring it to Japan." All my friends that have the brands in Japan, I said, "You guys are more than welcome to come to my event. I won't even charge you a dime. Just show up, bring
Yeah.
some cars, and we'll all have a good time, right?" They're like, "You're gonna rent Fuji?" I go, "Yeah, I think it'll be cool, right?" They're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." And they're like, "There's no fee for the booth." I'm like, "No, no fee. Bring 10 cars. I don't care."
Yeah.
And I think from there they were like, "What? Mark's crazy, right?"
Yeah.
Like, I really didn't care. I was just hoping that we had enough money to pay for everyone's flight and hotel rooms, obviously, and then
How
hopefully
did
we
you
could
pay for it? Was it car registrations?
do car registrations. We
Okay.
had I think we closed it at 300. First of all,
Wow.
First of all, what's crazy is they were telling me you need to charge 15,000 yeah, 15,000 yen, which is
Mm-hmm.
like $150 back
Mm-hmm.
then, right? I'm like, "Hell no. We only charge $45 for our shows here. Are you guys
Yeah.
crazy?"
Yeah.
I feel that's I feel like that's so bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "If you charge 10,000 yen, it's going to be too cheap."
Yeah.
Like, "What? Too cheap? No way, this will be perfect.
Yeah.
3,000, you know, that we'll make enough money to fly our people down there and just have a good time. We could sell some merch, whatever."
Yeah.
We did it at 10,000 yen,
Okay.
300 people. More people wanted to register. I'm like, how many can Fuji hold? I
Yeah.
didn't know. They just showed me a parking lot
Yeah.
picture.
You don't know how big it
And I was
is.
like, how big and we started counting spots.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this thing can hold like 1,000 cars. So then I said, okay, let's just open it up for 100 more cars, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
400 cars, first event. Cool. That'd be great. Because we don't know how many people on the booth side, how many
How
these
many?
guys were
Yeah.
gonna, you know, we didn't charge for booths.
Yeah.
So I invited all my friends that had brands out there.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, dude, there was what you know, event day comes, we're all nervous. We don't know. We had enough money to show up, pay for hotels, whatever. We show up, we're like, holy smokes. They're like, "Mark, where are you?" It's like I'm like 5:30 in the morning. I'm like,
Yeah.
why? What's going on? It's so early. We don't need to be at the gates till 6. They're like, "There's a line at the front of Fuji." I'm like, "What?" Dude, like it was like a mile long. Like
Wow.
I could not believe this. This was these are cars that were paying and cars that wanted to go in, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was like some incredible show that I could not comprehend.
Dude, how long does what is that called? When they check in and you like gotta park all those cars. How long did
Dude,
that take? Four
um
400 cars? I can't even imagine.
my guys, we had some friends from Japan that were helping us out.
Yeah.
We actually staged them really quick. They staged them really nicely, you know,
Okay.
spread apart, make sure there's one space between the cars, straight,
Yeah.
whatever.
Nice.
It turned out really nice. I think Um, I think just the weirdest, it was just I didn't expect that many people to come, so I felt like, wow, 400 cars is too much. I can't see all 400. I felt real bad,
Oh,
but
that's true, huh? How do you
yeah,
see 400 cars?
400. But we did. I walked the entire every single row,
Oh,
said hi
wow.
to everyone, met with
That's
everyone.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
because it's kind of like respect, right? Like
For sure.
you have to show respect to everyone,
Yeah.
not just the people that have boots. Because I don't know. I tried to do my best, right?
Yeah.
Obviously,
That's great.
yeah, and it turned out really good, and till the end, I guess.
Well, before you talk about the
Yeah.
end, what what was it like seeing the cars? Do you think that the cars did a good job uh following the style that you kind of made popular, or were there subtle differences?
Well, one thing that I noticed was all these guys, like some guys in this US, right? They go to the show, they lower their cars there to be
Uh-huh.
slammed.
Yeah.
These guys were like touching.
Yeah.
They didn't care. They drove in like that.
Yeah.
Like we see them the freeways 65 miles per hour, 70 miles per hour, just flying right by us
Yeah.
at the end of the show. I was like, oh my God, these guys drove here like that?
Yeah.
Crazy, dude, scraping. It was like, I mean, obviously that wasn't the definition, but I was like stoked to see it, right? I was like,
Yeah.
wow, these guys are hardcore. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
fun. It was so fun to see. Just, I mean, obviously, because I was in the VW scene, I guess I don't know if there was Instagram back then, but they followed us somehow, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
knew that I was into VWs. Those guys showed up.
That's dope.
The VIP guys showed up. It all
I saw some drift cars. Yeah.
drift cars. It was cool because I think people knew us. Well, maybe they knew me because I went with Philip and them when they were with Toshi and them when they were
Yeah.
filming JDM Insider.
That's a cool story too.
Yeah, so they saw us from that.
Okay.
Maybe they remembered. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I kept in touch with a lot of them. So I think friends knew. It was
Mm-hmm.
kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny.
You mentioned VW right now, and that just sparked a memory because I was friends with like a VW guy, and he was into like the classic VWs.
Yeah.
And when I was into the drift stuff, and it hadn't really, it was just starting to catch on in the US. And like I was about like wheel fitment and stretching tires,
Hmm.
and he showed me that VW guys were doing that too, and that was kind of a thing that they were doing.
It
So
was.
did that kind of influence you on
Oh,
Hellaflush as well?
for sure. I
Oh,
mean, I was
okay.
into like what is that? Max Speed. There's a
Mm-hmm.
magazine called Max Speed back in the
Yeah.
UK.
It's like a UK. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to see the craziest color VWs. Like they'd be on GTI's pink ones and
Yeah.
green ones and like really crazy colored ones, and they would all stretch tires like to the max. Like
Yeah.
I guess that's why it's called Max Speed. I don't know, but they were all about stretch tires, and I
Yeah.
think that's obviously that's where some of the influence comes from. Because I wasn't really into square tires yet
Mm-hmm.
till my later till these because I race now, but
Yeah.
I was into the square setup at all. It was
Yeah.
all about a little stretch, just because
Yeah.
that's more style.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
but
cool.
yeah, the
And
VW definitely the VW scene helped influence my style.
interesting. Interesting. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, funny.
Um, yeah. Okay. So back to the event.
Do you
You
know
guys,
what's crazy? What
yeah.
what car showed up, and I had no idea it was going to show up. The Cyber Evo. I think he
Yeah.
just had won some crazy event, and it showed up. I was like, oh, what the heck? What is this car doing here? But
Yeah.
they were doing a time attack that day anyway, so
Oh,
they just brought it up, and
and it was clean.
it was clean. It's like,
Nice.
wow. Yeah, it was. I don't even think it had a cage. I don't. It was like the bare
Oh,
minimum
they were
of
like
cage. It
testing
was.
or
They were doing something, but there was a cage, but I don't think it was a legal cage yet.
I think
Um,
that happened for a long time in Japan where they were not that strict on cages,
that's crazy.
right?
Hmm.
You would see a full full race D1 car with a like a Cusco cage, like a
Yeah,
bolt-in cage.
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hmm.
Um yeah, let's talk about Okay, so what was the crazy thing that happened at the end of the show?
Um, because I was so into D1, I love D1. I love drifting, local drifters, right? There's a lot of local drifters that showed up at the event.
Yeah.
Um, what was his name? Kinya
Mm-hmm.
Nishio. He was a D1 driver. Yamasaki brought him because we were sponsoring him.
Okay.
Light sponsor, right? We sponsored him. I just wanted to have our brand name on a
On a
G1
D1
car.
car, that's
Well, I
sick.
don't care who it is.
Yeah.
I'll put our logo in. And he was actually a really good driver, super aggressive style, right? And I
Yeah.
was like, oh man, I've never been in a. I rode with him, and I didn't know that. Well, I knew that we shouldn't be drifting in the parking lot after the
Mm-hmm.
event,
Yeah.
but he was like started drifting, and I was like, um, I think Alexi at the time said,
Yeah.
Mark, go in the car. You should ride with him. I'm like, really? Okay, I'll go in there. So he starts filming.
Yeah.
I'm getting excited because, we start drifting in this parking lot. I
Yeah.
had no idea this was a special parking lot that has drainage for when it rains. There's no puddles ever because every 10 feet there's holes for the
Okay.
water to drain.
Okay.
So if you're drifting, you're covering up these holes.
Right.
And before we leave, they wouldn't let us out because we had to pay the fine. And the fine was crazy money.
What was the fine?
Um, I think it was, well, they started really high, like 15,000 US.
Whew.
I know. And then I think we ended up spending 8,000 on that fine or something. It was
Damn.
just, they
On
wouldn't let us out of the place. But what was funny is during the event, I mean, not during the end of the event,
mhm.
all the drift teams were drifting down the regular street. We didn't get in
Yeah.
trouble for that. I
On
guess
on the property or outside
on
the
the
property?
property, on the
And
property.
they didn't care.
No, because it was on the normal street.
That's funny.
But because the parking lot is
Right.
made for drainage,
Wow.
oh my God, I would never think that there's a drainage,
Yeah. I
because it
mean,
doesn't look
that's so
like it.
Japanese, right?
So Japanese.
Yeah.
But we had to pay for all the skid marks to get out
Damn.
of the holes because he was burning out, like
Yeah, yeah,
going
yeah.
going ham.
Yeah.
It was
How
crazy.
was it riding in the car?
It was cool. That's why I said it was kind of a super aggressive drift. I'm not, like I think my style is super laid back, drifting style,
Mm-hmm.
like just cruising.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's like surfing, right? So I just take the fun line. I don't try
Mm-hmm.
to pass. I just cruise, right? And
Yeah.
this guy's super aggressive style. I'm like, oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
God, this D1 stuff, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
I'm all about the comparison of drifting and surfing.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched North Shore?
Yeah, I love that show.
The,
Phoebe Cage. Oh, what was it? Yeah, Phoebe Cage, right?
yeah.
Or was it
Yes,
Phoebe
she's
Cage?
in it. She's in it.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it was because of like the Hawaii guys were kind of telling me to watch it, like Len
Uh-huh.
and uh and so
There's
I
Lens Company right here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Shout out
Yeah.
to Sleepers.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I watched it in like 2003 or something like that.
Yeah.
And when I was watching, I was like, dude, I know this movie is about surfing, but it's also all about drifting. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
same, the same,
Etiquettes. Yeah.
yes, the etiquettes, the competition versus doing it for the love,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like
Yeah.
pro and amateur, like all
Yeah.
that stuff.
I know. I think when it became too pro, I just we would do so much with Formula D. We used to
Yeah.
do all their car shows for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was awesome, but I think I wouldn't even watch the show because I thought it was too professional already, right? Like I can't the only guys I can understand or relate to was like Forrest Wang, right? Because he was
Yeah.
still Hawaiian style
Yeah.
and it was slammed. It was like it looked like a D1 car still,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I don't know what happened to the other cars. It just, man, why is there so much gap, right? Like
Yeah.
it didn't make any sense. It still doesn't.
Speaking of Formula D, you had a short stint in
Oh my
Formula
God,
D.
let's not talk about that. That's terrible. Well, so here's the thing. I thought I can handle that speed. I
hmm
I had never drifted that speed in my life, right?
Yeah, I
Well,
mean
I'm in,
it's hard to get that speed
yeah.
at a track, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
And so
and
I
I
wanted, yeah.
I also felt like they were pushing us to be better, right? They wanted to
Yeah.
put on a show. They
Mhm.
wanted us to go faster than maybe we were comfortable, but that's part of it, I think.
Yeah. After that, I was like, oh man, I smacked into the wall. I'm like, this is not my thing. I'm just gonna do local events, host my own drift events, and
Yeah.
just have fun with it. It was for me, it was a reality check in a way.
Mm.
It's like, I could go, I can, I can manage to, I can afford to go do a professional series,
Mm-hmm.
but do I want to do that or just have
Yeah.
fun with it, and it
Yeah.
just became more of a fun thing.
Yeah. Nadine and I, we both came to the same realization as you. It's a lot of work,
Mm-hmm.
and then it kind of I don't think it's the same for us. It wasn't the same as what you're saying when you make work your passion. It was
Yeah.
kind of making our passion work, and that's
Mm-hmm.
different.
Yeah. It
Um,
was it became yeah, it became a chore almost. You're like,
yeah.
oh man, I got to deal with this. I mean, drifting got to a point where, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. But what I did was make it easier for me to get to drift tracks, right? Like
Hmm.
I started buying things like a trailer. I started buying things like a car hauler to get to
Yeah.
these events because just make it more convenient for myself, right? Because just getting to the track these days is so difficult, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
kind of why I just arrive and drive with a regular race car or,
Yeah.
like whatever. But now, because I went past the point of driving my race car to the track,
Hmm.
I have to trailer it again, which is fine, but it is like you're
I
driving
know.
such a lowered car and then you end up breaking something on the freeway. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, why didn't I just trailer this thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. I follow you.
Are you guys are at the track still a lot?
Yeah. Not a lot. I mean, I'll go to like final bout events.
Oh yeah.
I'll judge a little bit. And I really like these days. I'm driving like once a year,
Okay.
but it is hard transporting. Um, just like because I don't have a trailer, so I got to borrow a trailer. Now we have a
Yeah.
truck, but it's just a lot.
Kind of
So
truck.
we have a Yukon Denali.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
That thing can tow really well.
it tows like there's nothing there, which is
Yeah,
nice.
that's awesome.
But there is a part of the towing that makes me miss the ride up to the track in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that quiet time. It's not really quiet. It's actually kind of loud, but just like the time in the car.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I just find joy in that. It just takes me back to the old days. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so we actually bought a car recently. We bought a '08Z.
Oh, nice.
And so that's the car that is more like your Porsches that you're racing, where
Mm-hmm.
you just hop in and you go.
Yep.
There's no like loading up a trailer the
Did you
night
guys change the
before.
LS? Does that come with a standard LSD or you have to
It
switch it
does,
out,
it
swap it
does,
out?
but I bought it with a welded.
Oh,
We
cool.
we do have a cause, and
Yeah.
it's just kind of sitting there. But I wanted to play around with the welded first to
Mm-hmm.
just to experience that.
Wait till it snaps off and then
I
just
don't.
swap
I'm
it
not
out.
gonna wait that long, but I just never owned one, and
Hmm.
so
How is it as a drift car? I hear it's one of the easiest cars to drift.
I mean, I do a little here and there, but I haven't been on a track,
Uh-huh.
so I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I mean it's like 300 horsepower. It's
Yeah.
got AC, heat, a radio, so
Yeah.
and it's legal. I don't have to worry about the cops. So, it's got that going for it, which I think it should be good. We'll see.
Yeah, that's rad. I,
Yeah.
I I definitely I almost bought a drift car from Sarah, but then she had sold it like 5 minutes before when she said, "Oh, I'm selling my car," and then she sold it to someone
Oh
else.
man.
She had a IS, which is super cool.
Yeah.
I hear it's good for drifting as well, but it's cool.
If,
I
if you
might. I
can
was
set it
thinking,
up right, yeah, I think so.
yeah, she set it up pretty well. I wanted to. I was looking at the Z's as well because
Mm-hmm.
that guy Hurt from Hoonigan,
Mm-hmm.
he's always telling me, "Oh yeah, just get a Z. It's so easy. It's like
Yeah.
they're inexpensive and you could just drive to the like you said, drive to the events and
Yeah.
not worry about it.
Yeah, you and they've got like no shortage of torque.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Everything seems really good. I just haven't experienced it yet.
Cool.
But
Let me know. Well, we should go out together. That'd be fun.
yeah, for sure. Man, you gotta. What are you gonna get?
No, I'll get what you get. Then we could
Okay.
just like do some tandem
All
stuff.
right. That
At
sounds
least
good.
try.
That sounds good. Old man
Yeah.
tandem. Let's do
Oh yeah, let's do it. That'll be
it.
fun.
That's cool. Yeah. Let's see. Um, what? Tell me what you got in the garage today.
Oh man. I don't I mean I have RWB. That I drive that one on the track.
Okay.
Well, it was just a regular 997.2 that I converted to
Nice.
like a cup car.
Okay.
And then I started tracking that a lot this year. And then
You don't see a lot of RWB 911s on the track, right?
yeah, no, not at all.
You see them on in car shows. You don't see them on the track.
Yeah, so I kind of want to change that stigma of
That's
them,
dope. I mean, that's
you know?
what they're meant for, right?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I've never spoken to Nakai, but I know he loves racing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when he designed the RWB, like he designed it to go on the track.
Yeah, I've done quite a few of his 12-hour races in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
We do it at Motegi Raceway,
Mm-hmm.
and those things handle, dude. Like because it's so wide, you don't even know when the breaking point is, right?
Yeah.
Well, you find it when you start sliding, obviously,
Yeah.
but it takes a really long time to get there. And by that time, you're already caught up to the guy in front of you
Okay.
because it is a 12-hour race. You're like, cool, this is actually really fun to, you're driving. But at the same time, you have to be really careful because if you crash, you kind of have to pay half the damages.
Yeah.
But the one that I just finished, obviously I spent a lot of money on suspension because suspension is like the number one thing for track racing
Mm-hmm.
or tracking. And for my car that has I don't know 390 horsepower, it can hang with like 550 horsepower GT3s or GT3
Yeah.
RSs and
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that just because of how wide it is, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm catching up to them on every single turn. Obviously,
Wow.
they take off on the straights because they have so much more horsepower, but because it's so wide, you got man, it's endless, right? Like you have the advantage on that, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. So
Oh yeah.
you got the
So I got
911.
that.
Or you got I should say 997.2 because you might have more than one 911.
I have a navy blue 911 that's coming from Japan. I just picked that up.
Why from
It should
Japan?
oh because they have such special cars over there.
Okay.
No, it has no sunroof, which is really sought after in the
Okay.
964 world. Like not having a sunroof, that's like, oh shoot, that's bonus, right? Like
Okay. Okay.
because the RS cars came with no sunroof. And
Got
then
it.
I have my wife, she has a Taycan
Mm-hmm.
station wagon.
Mm-hmm.
And then I drive an old G wagon, like a 2002 G wagon that I made look like a 1980. I backdated.
Okay.
So
That's cool.
that's kind of like my daily. And then my I have a car for my daughter, and then my son's 8.6.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does your daughter have?
She has like an old Mercedes,
Okay.
three C300 or something like that.
Okay. Okay.
The older one. They're good, fairly priced right now.
I remember, man, I don't know how long ago that was, but a few years ago, I remember always drooling about over your garage because you had the white Hachiroku
Oh yeah.
and then you had the Hakosuka skyline and you had the Kenmari skyline.
Yeah.
Um, where did those go?
Um, so the Skyline, the Hakosuka, I sold it to a friend. I bought it back because I thought I was like missing it in my life.
Yeah.
So then I bought it back. And I guess I wasn't missing it. I think I just um thought at that time I was going through some weird stuff with myself. Like I I had quite a few cars at one point. I think like 21 cars or something. And I sold. I had a fire sale on the internet, and people thought I was going crazy, but I wasn't going crazy. It was just more. I just needed to unload. It was
Yeah.
just too much,
Yeah.
Like you look at every month, you get all these registrations, and it's just ridiculous.
Dude, 22 cars, you're getting like 2 registrations in the mail every
Oh,
month.
it was terrible.
I
It
can't
was the
imagine.
worst.
I get so mad when I just get one.
Oh, I hate it. And nowadays it's, because I have kids and I'm really busy with work. It's
Yeah.
just one of those things where cars are awesome, but at the same time, you can only drive one
You have to have
at a
time for
time.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm building a 65 Nova. It's been in the shop for like 1 year now, or one and a
Okay.
half years.
Okay.
That's like my 49er car, but I haven't been to a 49ers game with it yet. It's a gold Nova. It's pretty funny.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And then I as a daily, I used to drive a Sprinter van, because my son plays a lot of baseball and I
Okay.
love
Yeah.
watching him play baseball.
Yeah.
And my daughter does gymnastics, so we go to a lot of meets and baseball stuff with this in the
Okay.
Sprinter.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is uh what is the car you regret selling the most?
Um, I don't know. I don't know if I have any because I used to think it was a super sentimental,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they're the one car I wish I did not sell, and I sold it to Fish, from Risky Devil's crew.
Yeah.
Um, that S14, he still has it till today, and it still has the Vertex kit on it. It's
Okay, so
white.
that's not the one he did the Rocket Bunny conversion on.
No, no, no. He's driving it still till today. It's a white Vertex Ridge kit on
All
it.
his cars are white. Is
Yeah.
that why you bought it? Because it's white?
No, it was a Porsche color.
Oh, okay.
Porsche color
Hmm.
at the time. It was a Ruby Stone red. And when he bought it, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna paint it white, right?" I'm like, "Okay, cool. That's where it came from. And it came
Yeah.
from a white car, so
Yeah,
go
yeah.
for it."
Wait,
I
this is
actually
is this the S14 that I am aware of, or is it a different S14?
it's the one he's driving today still.
It's the one, but is it the one? Is it the one you had the J line wheels on? The one that
No,
you?
no, yeah, yeah, that's the one.
Oh,
That's the
okay,
same
okay.
one, yeah.
I
I
thought it was
tried to buy
white.
it. It was white, and then I painted it because I hit something and I destroyed the kit.
Uh
I was
huh.
like, "Oh, cool! It's a good time to change the color up."
Okay, okay.
And I was way into Porsches, so I'll paint it a Porsche color. That's a great idea,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I wish I still had that. I tried to buy it back, and then he says, "Oh no, you wouldn't want to buy it because I cut the whole bottom. I cut all the seat stuff out because he's a
Oh,
big dude."
it's a rate. Oh, yeah.
And he goes, "I welded all the seat to the floor." I'm like, "Oh, I can't. I don't know what to do with that now." And he
I'm
said,
sure
"I
you can
cut I
fix
cut
it.
all the cage out." I'm like, "What? I don't
Oh,
even want the
wow.
car anymore." Yeah,
Well, you can. It's still there for you to look at. You know, it's
yeah.
not in like a ditch or sitting rotting away in a yard or
Oh,
something.
of anyone to buy the car, he's
Yeah,
a good person to buy
yeah,
it
yeah,
because
for
he
sure.
takes care of his stuff.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Except you can't buy it back.
yeah. I wanted to build another S14, but the price is crazy for
They're
those things now.
insane. They're insane. But I mean, you're used to it. I mean,
Yeah,
you are into classic cars, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's just part of it. But
It is part of it, but back in the day,
yeah, I know. Tell me
we
about
used
it.
1,200 bucks. Oh, that's still
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah, man,
Yeah,
a Zenki, you had a Zenki S14 and
yeah,
those were my favorite. You know, Coke, like everyone loved the Cokies,
yeah.
but I always had a thing for Zenkis and I should have got one and I never did.
Your
Now it's
car is do you still have the S13?
I still do.
Oh,
Nadine, this
nice.
is Nadine's right here. We both have them still.
Oh, dude, it's funny. I thought you were in a background. I thought that was a fake background. That's so funny.
No, no, it's right here. I can touch it.
What? That's nice.
Yeah, yeah. And she just released that children's book. So
It got released already.
yeah,
That's
yeah, we released
awesome.
it. And so it gave us a chance to do a little refresh
Mm-hmm.
for the book launch party. So we put some new arrow on it, detailed
What?
it, put some new wheels. Yeah.
No, wait. When did she release the book?
It was a couple, maybe 2 or 3. Oh, it was like a few days before her birthday. So
Oh,
end of October.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wait, when's her birthday? October
October
what?
28th.
Oh, is she a Libra? No, she's
She's
the next
Scorpio.
one. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
Libra.
You're a Libra. Those
Yeah,
are close to each other.
yeah, pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm friends. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. Um,
I gotta go pick one up. That's really cool. I always wanted to make a drift book, a drift coloring book, but I never did.
she made a coloring book too.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, you
awesome.
could you could she's got like a blank car. You can, design your own livery on it and stuff. So
What? Which car is it?
it's this. So
Oh
she
no.
like cartoonized herself, her car, me, some of our friends are in the
Oh, that's
book.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called Sachiko Goes Racing.
Oh, dude, that's so awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's about her and her experience as a girl trying to get into drifting.
That's great.
But I mean, it's about her, but like it's not a book for girls, right? It's about anyone who has a dream and dares to follow their dream.
Yeah. That's what life is about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, totally.
it's about I you come to the realization of everything you do in life is doesn't really matter as long as you're doing it with the right people and the
Hmm.
people around you and your family. And it's crazy, man. Like you could go through the wildest ride, but at the end it's all about the people around you still, right? Like
Yeah, right.
it's
Because
wild.
what kind of journey would it be if it was by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Doing it with people who support you and people who appreciate the journey with you. And you and her, you remind me a lot of each other. Just how you guys are so passionate about the things that you love, and how you are not afraid of doing something big.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the biggest thing that why people don't that people are afraid to dream sometimes. And
Yeah.
so thank you for inspiring artists, creatives,
Yeah.
passionate car people from around the world to take the chance and not be afraid to do something big like freaking rent out Fuji Speedway with
Yeah.
400 cars.
Yeah. It's so my I think my brain just says, okay, if you're gonna do it, let's just try and do it, right?
Yeah,
Like, if it, we had like I mean, not everything was a success story, right? Like,
yeah.
we did an event at, where was it? Oh, in Kansai, we rented Central Circuit, and I was like, oh yeah, we could rent Central Circuit. It's cheaper,
Hmm.
but nobody told me Central Circuit is on a two-way street.
Wait, what?
Dude, to
How is a
get this,
circuit on a two-way
oh,
street?
it was it was the worst experience of my life in
Yeah.
Japan. I felt so bad. We refunded everyone. It was
Wow.
so bad.
Wow.
You know, um, well, I don't know if we ended up giving everybody
Something.
everything that we made
Yeah.
for free. I was
Yeah.
just like give everything away. I
Yeah.
felt so bad. So two-way street, so this guy coming this way had to make a left, but this guy, it was just to get in, became 7 miles of traffic this
Oh
way,
man.
7 miles of traffic that way for the locals.
Yeah.
We were so in trouble, right? I was like, this thing's getting shut down. This is crazy. So Dino from Speed Hunters,
Mm-hmm.
he just all of us, we would just walk down the line and just give away. We were just giving so much stuff away. I would just like, I'm so sorry. Because the people that got in, they were in already, but there was no overflow parking. It was just the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
And you learn from these experiences because the day after the event, or even the night of the event, I Google mapped it and I was like, how did we not catch this?
Yeah.
Right? It was just, but the fun thing about it, we learned from it, and
Yeah.
my guys were like, okay, cool, we'll never do this again. But
Yeah.
what can we do? We couldn't. We're stuck in the pickle right now, so let's
Yeah.
just make the most out of it. Let's just give away stuff. And
How did you keep that bad experience from preventing you from doing things in the future?
I've gone through highs and lows in my life,
Yeah.
and everything I do, even this conversation, everything's an experience now, and it's always been an experience, right? Because kind of just learn from everything you do, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, cool. I know not to ever do that
Yeah.
again. I have to really check and
Right.
because we were like, okay, cool. Hellaflush is blowing up. Let's go all over Japan. This,
Yeah.
Okayama. Let's go do an event here, everywhere, and like in the north and south. We'll just try everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, okay, that's not the thing to do. Let's just keep this thing special. Just do it once a year. We don't need to do it 2 times or 3 times a year, right? Like
Yeah.
that's already pressing your luck and
Yeah.
stuff like that. People in Japan, what I notice, love consistency. So when I see people doing stuff and they're very consistent at doing it, that's what I tried to take from that, right? Like, okay, cool. So just stay in your lane. Just don't, no need to ruffle the feathers, and let's just try and be consistent with everything I do, right?
Yeah.
Not just during events. It's the way okay, let's not go crazy on buying sneakers. Let's just buy one a
Okay.
month, right? Or you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I started realizing, okay, I don't need everything. I don't need 100 cars. I've been through 100 cars, but I I don't need that many anymore, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just you just learn from all this.
Yeah.
Like it's fun to have a collection, but it's not fun to have a collection,
No,
right?
that's true.
You know,
You
it's
yeah, you don't think about that. You just see the guy with all the stuff that you want, and you're like, I want that too.
yeah. You don't really have to have it. You
Yeah.
you could collect it in your head, I guess. I don't know.
I think that's good advice from someone who's been through it.
Yeah, it's the grass isn't really greener, dude. Trust
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
You can make all the money in the world, you still might not be happy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yep, I agree with that. Okay, cool. I think this interview is winding down. I think this is a good place
Cool.
to stop. Mark, thank you again for your time, for being willing to come on here and share. Like this ended up being like for me is very inspirational. I think you're a very inspirational person.
Oh, thank you.
Um, and like thank you for all of your contributions to current day car culture.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I don't know if you realize, but you changed a lot,
Oh,
and
that's crazy to think about that, man.
yeah,
Like seriously, I
I know
think
you're a real like down to earth guy, but I see it. I see it. When I'm driving down the street and I see a Honda Accord like slammed on like low offset wheels, I'm like, that's from Mark.
you know, I think I think I could be for myself, I'm super thankful that I'm able to enjoy life doing the things I've done, right? Because I would always see people, right? Like I notice people like, oh, I always notice people, no matter what they're doing.
Yeah.
If they're a chef and they're loving it, right? Like
Hmm.
I have to love what I do, right? Like if you don't love what you do, I mean you have to find that in yourself, right? Like just I don't know, it's just one of those things. Um, no, I love it. Thanks for having me. It was
Yeah, of
super
course.
awesome.
Yeah, it's an honor. And I can't wait to talk with you again. Let's go hang out and I don't know, like do some eating, sneaker
Yeah.
shopping, whatever. I'm down with
Dude,
all of that.
let's go eat. There's so much good food in LA. Now
Yeah.
that I would say I live 70% of my time in Los Angeles, not
Yeah.
Los Orange County now.
Okay.
So, and I noticed, I mean, I'm stopping by so many different food places. Every week I see something new. My wife
Yeah.
sends me some stuff. Oh, you got to check this out in Orange County. Then I go to it for breakfast or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
so much good stuff out there.
So much good stuff. Our favorite restaurant is called Taco Maria down in Costa
Oh,
Mesa.
uh-huh.
Go check that out. They just got a Michelin star, and I mean,
What?
we've been going there for years, and I'm so happy they got one. They're
Yeah.
so good that they are in like the LA Times like top 100 restaurants list, even though they're
Wow.
not in LA. Like they make an exception for that restaurant.
That's
So go
amazing.
check that one out. There, I mean, there's so much, but yeah, let's go eat.
Yeah, let's go for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Thank you. Thanks
cool,
again.
man. All right, thanks, Mark. Hey,
Cool.
cheers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Cheers.
Are you a good storyteller and have a good drifting related story to tell? You gotta fill out an application at podcast.sil80mania.com. In the upper right, there's a link called Storytime app. Fill it out and I'll be looking forward to reading it. And if you're watching on YouTube and you enjoyed the podcast, do what my boys from Auto Factory Realize say and make sure to like that smash button and hit subscribe. Thank you guys for listening.